Man's Search for Meaning is a profound and deeply moving exploration of the human spirit's resilience in the face of unimaginable suffering. Viktor Frankl, a psychiatrist and Holocaust survivor, recounts his harrowing experiences in Nazi concentration camps and reveals how finding purpose, even in the darkest circumstances, can give life meaning and help people endure. The book introduces his groundbreaking approach called logotherapy, which centers on the idea that the primary human drive is not pleasure or power, but the pursuit of meaning. It's a powerful reminder that even when we cannot control our fate, we can choose our attitude toward it, making it a timeless source of hope and strength. About the author. Viktor Frankl was an Austrian neurologist, psychiatrist, and Holocaust survivor born in 1905. His experiences during World War II, including his imprisonment in Auschwitz and other concentration camps, profoundly shaped his psychological theories. After the war, he developed logotherapy, a form of existential analysis that emphasizes finding meaning as the key to mental health and personal fulfillment. Frankl's work has influenced psychology, philosophy, and spiritual thought worldwide, making him one of the most significant thinkers on human resilience and purpose in the 20th century. There was once a man named Viktor, a psychiatrist with a deep love for understanding the human mind and spirit. He lived in a time when the world was changing violently, swept up in the chaos of war. Viktor found himself caught in one of the darkest places in history, the Nazi concentration camps during World War II. What happened to him there was unimaginable, yet his story is not just about suffering. It is about hope, courage, and the profound power of meaning. Viktor's journey began with loss. He was taken from his home, separated from his family, and thrust into a world filled with cruelty and despair. Every day was a battle for survival against hunger, cold, exhaustion, and fear. People around him were dying, hope was slipping away, and yet, somehow, Viktor noticed something remarkable. Those who clung to a sense of purpose, who found meaning in their suffering, were the ones who had the strength to keep going. In the camps, Viktor observed how the mind could be a refuge. Some prisoners found small reasons to live a memory of a loved one, a dream of the future, or even a simple act of kindness. Others, overwhelmed by hopelessness, gave up and faded away. It wasn't the physical hardships alone that determined survival. It was the spirit within. Despite the horrors, Viktor kept his heart and mind open. He studied the people around him, not just as a prisoner, but as a psychiatrist, searching for the reasons that kept them alive. His belief grew stronger. Life has meaning under all circumstances, even the most brutal. And that meaning is unique to each person. It might be love, a responsibility, or even the attitude one chooses toward unavoidable suffering. Viktor's own reason to live was his hope of reunion with his wife, a beacon that kept his soul alive amid darkness. He understood that when people lose their sense of purpose, despair creeps in like a shadow. But when they find something to hold on to, a mission, a love, a future, they can survive unimaginable pain. He also learned that suffering itself could be transformed. It wasn't the suffering alone that defined a person, but how one responded to it. Viktor believed that even when we cannot change our fate, we can choose our attitude, find meaning, and thus transcend our suffering. This idea formed the heart of Viktor's philosophy, which he later called logotherapy, the therapy of meaning. It teaches that humans are driven not by pleasure or power, but by the search for purpose. In the camps, Viktor practiced this quietly, offering hope to others, encouraging them to find something worth living for. Sometimes it was a memory. Sometimes it was the dream of freedom. Sometimes it was the determination to bear witness to what was happening. As the war dragged on, Viktor's strength was tested again and again. He faced hunger so intense it felt like fire in his belly. He endured cruelty that numbed the soul. But he never lost sight of what mattered, the meaning behind each moment. Eventually, the war ended and Viktor was freed. But the scars of his experience remained deep, invisible wounds carried in his heart. Yet, out of the ashes of suffering, he built a new purpose, to help others discover meaning in their lives, no matter what challenges they faced. After the war ended, Viktor returned to a world that had changed just as much as he had. The people he once knew were gone, and the memories of the camps lingered like shadows that wouldn't quite fade. But Viktor was determined to live differently, to take the unbearable pain he had witnessed and turn it into something that could help others find light in their darkest hours. He began to write about his experiences, not just to tell a story, but to share a powerful truth, that no matter how terrible life's circumstances, every person has the freedom to choose their response. Even when trapped by forces beyond their control, people can find meaning by the way they face suffering. Viktor explained that many prisoners lost their will to live because they felt powerless and meaningless. But those who found a purpose, even the smallest one, could endure far greater hardship. For some, that meaning came from love, a thought of family or a cherished memory. For others, it was the hope of a future task or responsibility, like raising a child or completing a work. He described how suffering, while painful, could be a gateway to a deeper understanding of life. The key was to accept suffering without giving in to despair. Viktor called this the tragic triad: pain, guilt, and death, experiences no one can avoid. But within these, he said, lie opportunities for courage, growth, and transformation. The core of Viktor's new approach, logotherapy, was simple yet profound. Instead of focusing on what people lacked or what they wanted to avoid, logotherapy encouraged them to find meaning in every moment. It emphasized that the will to meaning is the primary motivation in life, more powerful than the desire for pleasure or the drive for power. Viktor also recognized that meaning is deeply personal. What gives life meaning for one person may be different for another. It can be found through work, relationships, art, faith, or even a simple act of kindness. The search for meaning is a lifelong journey, and it is always within reach. In his work as a psychiatrist after the war, Viktor helped countless people who struggled with feelings of emptiness and despair. Many felt lost, unsure of their place in the world after trauma or personal hardship. Through logotherapy, he guided them to discover their own unique reasons to live, their own why, that could carry them through even the darkest times. Viktor believed that every human being has the freedom to choose their attitude, no matter the circumstances. This freedom is what gives life its dignity. Even when we cannot change our suffering, we can change how we relate to it, and through that, find meaning. His message was hopeful. Life is never meaningless. Even in suffering, there is a chance to find purpose, to grow, and to transform pain into strength. This idea has inspired millions around the world to face their challenges with courage and hope. As Viktor continued his work, he came to understand that meaning could be discovered in three main ways. First, through creating or doing something valuable work or a task that gives a person a sense of accomplishment and purpose. Second, through experiencing something or someone love being the greatest example, where connecting deeply with another person can give life profound meaning. And third, through the attitude we take toward unavoidable suffering. When we cannot change our situation, we can still choose how we face it with dignity and courage. Viktor's own story was a powerful testament to this. In the camps he had nothing but his thoughts, memories, and attitude to hold on to. He imagined conversations with his wife, pictured the lectures he would give someday, and clung to the hope of freedom. These mental acts helped him survive. More than that, they gave him a reason to wake up each morning. He also noticed something else, how people who lost hope, who felt utterly powerless, often gave up quickly. When the mind surrenders, the body follows. But when the mind finds a flicker of meaning, the body can endure incredible hardship. Viktor recounted stories of fellow prisoners who found meaning in small things. A man who cared for others despite his own suffering, a mother who dreamed of her child, a man who vowed to tell the world what had happened once free. These sparks of purpose became lifelines. This led Viktor to believe that meaning is always available. No matter the external conditions, the internal world holds the key. We may not control what happens to us, but we always control how we respond. He wrote about the existential vacuum many people face, the feeling of emptiness, boredom, or lack of direction that can lead to despair. This vacuum often appears in times of great change or trauma, when old values no longer hold. But it also creates space for new meaning to be found. Viktor's logotherapy sought to fill this vacuum by helping people discover their personal reasons to live. It was not about telling people what their meaning should be, but guiding them to find it themselves. He believed that life never asks us to be perfect, only to be authentic, to be true to ourselves and to the meaning we find, even if that meaning is difficult or painful. The freedom to choose our attitude, even when everything else is taken away, is the final human freedom, he said. It's what separates humans from all else, and what gives life its deepest significance. As Viktor shared these ideas, he knew they could help many people beyond the camps. Those facing illness, loss, failure, or despair could find hope by discovering their unique meaning, and by doing so they could find the strength to keep going. In the final part of his journey, Viktor reflected deeply on the lessons he had learned and the hope he wished to pass on to the world. He understood that life is full of uncertainty, pain, and loss, but it is also full of opportunities to find meaning and purpose, sometimes in the most unexpected places. He emphasized that meaning is not something abstract or distant. It is found in simple, everyday moments: the smile of a loved one, the act of kindness, the courage to face a new day, or the choice to keep moving forward despite fear and doubt. Even in suffering, meaning can bloom, like a flower pushing through cracked concrete. Viktor reminded us that suffering is not the only path to meaning, but when suffering is unavoidable, how we respond becomes our greatest source of strength. Choosing to bear hardship with dignity, to maintain hope when everything seems lost, is the ultimate act of freedom and human spirit. He spoke gently about forgiveness, not just forgiving others, but forgiving ourselves for the moments we falter. He knew that healing is a process, sometimes slow, often fragile, but always possible. His own life after the camps was a testament to resilience. Viktor devoted himself to teaching, writing, and helping others discover the meaning in their own lives. His ideas reached far beyond psychology into philosophy, spirituality, and everyday life. At its heart, man's search for meaning is a love letter to the human spirit, a reminder that no matter the darkness we face, we can find a light inside us. It tells us that every person's life matters, and every moment holds the potential for meaning. So as you close your eyes tonight, imagine Viktor's calm voice telling you this truth. No matter what you're going through, your life has meaning. Your story is important. And within you lies the freedom to choose hope, to find purpose, and to keep walking forward. Sleep well, knowing that your search for meaning is the most beautiful journey you will ever take. Thank you for joining me on this profound journey through man's search for meaning by Viktor Frankl. If this story touched your heart or sparked new thoughts, please like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss more gentle, thoughtful book summaries like this one.